Yeah, good evening, class. Today we are looking at SAP account payable end user cycle. Accounts payable end user cycle is also called as SAP end user work. The other name of end user work is called as procurement to pay. So, in short, we can call it as account payable cycle, or we can call procurement to pay cycle, or we can call it as P2P cycle. What are the different steps involved, which we discussed in our last session, are how many steps are there in our account receivable cycle? They are going to be 8 steps. What are they? When I'm saying account payable, what is the meaning? We are discussing about which department? We are talking about in end user, we are talking about the purchase department. Purchase department, we are looking at we are looking at procuring the raw material, and that raw material is going to be converted into finished goods. Correct? So procurement of the raw material, from where you are going to do? You are going to procure the raw material from the we call them as vendor. What will they call? They are called as vendor. So the first step, what you are going to do in your SAP procurement to pay cycle is to create your vendor master data. So step one is going to be vendor master data. Now we have understood what is a vendor. Vendor is nothing but a supplier from whom we are going to procure. The purchase department of our example, what we have taken is 1000 company code procurement department. As we told, 1000 company code is nothing but your Sun Pharmaceutical Company. Sun Pharmaceutical Company finished goods is raw material are required to produce one tablet of paracetamol that I'm going to procure from the vendor. Now, what is the two data which we have in SAP? The two data what we have in SAP is called as, please make a note, one, master data, two, transaction data. What is the difference between master data and transaction data? Master data is a data which is created once and it is being used multiple times. Like, you create in your company the vendor only once. You don't create the vendor every time. The vendor is going to be permanent. So we are going to create vendor till he does the business with us, and we are going to create him a master data. It's only created to that vendor. When I am going to give purchase order to him, the purchase order today I may look for 10 pieces. Tomorrow I may look for 20 pieces. Whenever I am giving a purchase order, a transaction is taking place. So what is your purchase order? Creation of purchase order will be? It will be a transaction data. So there are two data, as I told you, master data and second, transaction data. Master data is involved with creation of only once and using it multiple times. Transaction data is a data which is created whenever a transaction takes place. Now let's try to understand in this 8 step of procurement to pay which are the master data and which are the transaction data. As the name suggests, you see here the first three. The first, we are going to identify the vendor from whom we are going to procure the raw material. He is called as, what we are called? They are vendor master data. So it is a master data. Going to create only once. Again, a suffix is there, master data. at what price we are going to buy the raw material is called as condition master data. Now here a question comes, why the purchase price is called as condition master data? Pricing is always if based. What I mean by that? If I purchase 10 piece, what is the price? If I buy 100 piece, what is the price? If I buy today, what is the price? If I buy today, what is the price? If I buy tomorrow, what is the price? Every time I am looking for a price, I am using the word if. If in English is nothing but condition. So your pricing is always condition based. If I buy 10, if I buy 100, what is the price? So pricing is also called as condition master data. So what are the three master data we have in procurement to pay cycle? Vendor master data, raw material master data, and purchase price master data, which is nothing but in SAP called as condition master data. So from step one, you have identified your vendor from whom you are going to procure your raw material. Correct? And in step two, you are going to list out all the raw material which is required to produce the finished goods. You are going to procure all the raw material. Three, now for that raw material from this vendor, at what price we are going to buy, we have to create a record which is called as condition master data. Now vendor is ready from step one. From step two, your material is ready. Now from step three, your condition master data, your price is ready. Now what is the fourth step? Now the purchase executive sitting in the purchase department of your Sun Pharma, 1000 company code, is going to give a purchase order to vendor number one for say material 10 pieces of raw material one. Meaning vendor one is being asked to supply us raw material one. How much quantity? 10 pieces. How does the vendor will acknowledge that? Vendor will acknowledge as he will receive the purchase order from your company code 1000 through their purchase organization 1000 from Sun Pharma. The purchase executive is responsible to raise the end user, or he is called as a business user in SAP, authorized to raise a purchase order. So he is raising a purchase order for vendor one. What is the raw material? Raw material one, and how much quantity? 10 pieces. Already the selling price is predefined. They already agreed upon in the condition master data. So once we have punched in the purchase order, now what is a purchase order? Purchase order is nothing but a transaction data. Now you see, purchase order I can give for 10 piece today. Today I may require 20 piece, or after 1 month I may require 100 pieces. Every time I have a requirement in my company, the purchase executive will raise a purchase order for 10, 20, 100. So, whenever a transaction is taking place, every time you are going to create vendor one material quantity will keep on changing 10, 20, 100, so on. So, whenever a transaction is taking place, you are going to create a purchase order. So, purchase order is called as transaction data. So now we have identified the difference between master data and transaction data. Now, once the purchase executive sitting in Sun Pharma has raised a purchase order, now the purchase order is with vendor one. Now, how that purchase order was sent to the vendor? It could be through email, fax, or by post. Now, vendor receives this purchase order. Correct? Now, the vendor, what he is going to do with the purchase order? Whatever the quantity and the material is mentioned, he is going to ship from his godown or warehouse to your Sun Pharma storage location. The stores in charge in the Sun Pharma, or in the factory, the godown in charge, or the storage in charge, or the warehouse in charge, whatever you call, what he is going to do? He is going to receive the goods. Is it not? That is the reason the fifth step in procurement to pay is called as goods receipt. Goods receipt creation with respect to purchase order. Why the goods receipt has to be created with purchase order? It can so happen I raise a purchase order for 10 and I may receive the goods of only 7 pieces because the vendor may not have all the 10 pieces in the stock. What he says to me is, hey, purchase executive, I'm going to give you 7 now, 3 I'll send it at a later date. If we have agreed in our terms and condition that he can supply in installment, then I can agree. Now, but I have to know the goods receipt I am going to do only for 7 quantity, meaning for a purchase order, I can create multiple goods receipt. In our case, in our example, what we have taken, in purchase order was given for 10 quantity, I'll create 2 goods receipt for the same purchase order. 7 pieces, 1 goods receipt, and 3 pieces, another goods receipt on later date. So once the goods are in, what the storekeeper is going to give? He is going to stock after he receives the stock from the raw material from the vendor. What will happen to the stock quantity? Now he has received the 7 pieces from vendor, or totally he might get whatever the quantity is mentioned in the purchase order, namely 10 pieces. Even in the go down, already there could be 20 pieces of that raw material be lying in my go down. Now, this 10 pieces which I raised the purchase order is going to be added to the 20 piece. So, stock level is going to increase from 20 to 30. When I am doing the stock checking in your step 6, what is going to happen? My stock levels are going to increase by the goods received quantity. Is it not? Now, the goods received quantity is 10. Already previously I had 20 pieces. So when I am looking at stock checking, the total stock for that particular raw material in my godown will look like 30 pieces. So my sixth step will be stock checking in pay cycle. In procurement to pay cycle, we are saying it is going to be stock checking will be my sixth step. After I have received the stock, what is the next thing which I have to do? Now the vendor would have sent you an invoice along with the goods which he has sent. Correct? So once he has sent you the invoice, the purchase executive sitting in the purchase department of Sun Pharma, 1000 company code and with the purchase organization 1000, is going to verify the invoice and make the instruction to the accounts department. Okay, everything is ready, correct, whatever he mentioned in invoice, and you can go ahead and pay him. So, what will be my seventh step? Invoice verification with respect to purchase order. So, invoice is submitted by the vendor, and invoice is going to be verified by the purchase department of Sun Pharma. My 1000 company codes purchase organization 1000, whoever is the purchase executive who raised the purchase order. Why the invoice has to be verified with the purchase order? In the purchase order, whatever the price we have agreed, that is going to appear in the purchase order. Say, I have agreed for $10 per piece, and in the invoice, he has sent per piece $11. There is a discrepancy. Is it not? It should not have. Whatever the price and the quantity was there in my purchase order, the same thing should be reflected in the goods receipt and in invoice receipt. That is the reason both goods receipt and invoice receipt are created with reference to the purchase order. Once the purchase department clears that invoice is verified, now the purchase executive is going to update the accounts department. Please go ahead and pay the vendor. Now the account executive sitting in the accounts department of Sun Pharma in company code 1000, purchase organization 1000. Now what he'll do? He will create a outgoing payment clearing to vendor from the bank. From the bank, he is going to issue a check or wire transfer. So this step is nothing but your MMFI integration, that is nothing but accounts payable. The eighth step is going, the finance department is going to create the outgoing vendor payment clearing from the bank. That is nothing but accounts payable. That's the reason your procurement to pay is also known as account payable cycle. Now let's quickly recap the eight steps. Step 1, vendor master data. Step 2, material master data. 3, condition master data. Step 4, purchase order creation. Step 5, goods receipt creation with respect to purchase order. Step 6, we have got stock checking. Step 7, invoice verification with respect to PO. And 8 step, outgoing vendor payment clearing from the bank. As you know, all this can be created using end user work using something called as transaction code. Now here I have given you all the transaction code required to create them. So we'll, when we are doing it practically, we'll use each one of the T code, and on which enterprise structure are we going to create our end user work. So do our enterprise structure to do our account receivable and account payable cycle. In our previous lecture, we have understood we require 10 organization events, namely company, company code, sales organization, distribution channel, division, plant, storage location, purchase organization, warehouse number, and shipping point. When I'm talking about accounts payable, the most important section will come with purchase organization. There won't be any activity for my sales organization. Sales organization will come into picture when I'm doing my AR cycle or order to cash cycle, which we have seen in our previous session. Now, what is the standard enterprise structure on which I'm going to create? We have 2-digit ID, 3-digit ID, and 4-digit ID for the organization name. The 2-digit are there for distribution channel division, 3-digit is there for warehouse number. The rest of the 7 organization unit will have 4-digit ID. This also we have understood in our previous lectures. So 2-digit standard SAP distribution channel ID is going to be 10, and division is 00. One organization unit which will have 2-digit ID, one 3-digit ID which has warehouse number 010. Rest of them are 4-digit ID. All the 4-digit ID are 1000 in standard SAP. Only storage location is triple digit. Now, once we have understood the enterprise structure and we have gone through our procurement to pay end user step, now let's try to punch in the whole thing on our server. So once, as we have understood, SAP will understand ID language. Whatever the vendor we are going to create, we are at the end, when we save on the server, we are going to get some ID which will put down here and run up to all the steps till we get our outgoing payment clearing. Right? Now let's do the step one, vendor master data. So in the Excel sheet which I has given to the whole class, you can see I have given here your vendor master data whole thing. the recording I'm giving you right now, and then you are going to have, I've given this in the form of the screenshot in your PDF. What is that? That PDF is also been circulated to you, all the steps of your accounts payable. Correct? This PDF is there with each and every one of my students. Account payable cycle, all the steps we have put it in the PDF form along with the screenshot which we have covered. So it is vendor master data, second step meter master data, condition master data, purchase order, goods receipt, stock checking, invoice verification, payment. What are the transaction code? It is there. You can look at it. The difference is in Excel sheet we are given only the practical part of it. In the PDF you are given along with the screenshot. So you can access this. This will be circulated to all the students who have subscribed to our YouTube channel, and you know the YouTube channel which you have to do. The link is provided. You can click on subscribe, and whoever is provided that, they will be issued and given to this. Or you can please make a note. You can write in a message you require this, that will be sent to you once you are able to create. You want the people who are not my student but who have subscribed to our channel, they can also request for this, and they can look at where they can look. They can ask for here. My name is Surya. You can just give it the mail ID. You can test your mail ID here, sapecc800 at the rate gmail.com. You can send just a small mail requesting for the video and the study material. Once you are subscribed to our channel, you will be able to get, that is sapecc800 gmail.com. The other way of reaching me is you can call me on or text me on this WhatsApp message 630-370-5571. My name is Surya Narayanamurthy, Ravi. In SAP, they call me Surya, the SAP trainer. You can call me on this, and 91 is nothing but the Indian code, right? The thing is, you can call me plus 91, that's India code, 630-370-5571. And the link to which you have to subscribe, we are given it already, right? Thank you very much. Now let's go and hit the our end user step. Let's log into the server. Here is my server. I What I do, I log into the server. I have to give my username. I request whoever's username is there, please log off. I'm going to use this user for today. Right. Now, what is the transaction code? Let me put it in a split screen so that we can see both the screen. What is the first step we have to do? We have to create the vendor master data. So, what is the first step I have to create on the server? Vendor master data. So, vendor master data, the transaction code from purchase point of view and FK01 from sales point of view. So, let's create MK01. I go to the command field. I'm going to type MK01. I'm going to encounter create vendor initial screen from purchase point of view. Now, there are two ways of reaching this in SAP. In SAP Easy Access is called the end user. That's my Sun Pharma where SAP is implemented. This is the end user screen. Either I can reach that through the path, I can go logistic, because The vendor is identified, the purchase department. Purchase department is nothing but material management in SAP. I go and look for creation of vendor master data. So what I have to create? I have to create the vendor master data. So I can go by part and create my vendor. I go here, I reach here. You see here, vendor master data. When I'm seeing here, hey Surya, I don't see the transaction code. How do I highlight or activate my T code? Simple. You go to the main menu, click on extra, click on the setting. You will a pop-up will appear. Click on display technical names. Purchasing, master data, purchasing, create. I read the same screen. So to achieve that, either I can go by part or I can go by something called as transaction code. From today, we'll call it as T code. As vendor is the baby of two departments. Which are the two departments which are going to interact with vendor? The vendor is going to be identified by your purchase department, is it not? So the first creation of the vendor will be the purchase executive of the Sun Pharma, your end user. And which is the department which will interact with the for the payment with the vendor? Accounts department. That's the reason you got two transaction code here to create a vendor. Vendor master data is the baby of two departments. One is the purchase department and one is the finance department. So the purchase executive will punch in all the information regarding the vendor, meaning purchase information regarding the vendor. Then he'll pass on that vendor ID to the accounts department, and the account executive sitting in the accounts department of Sun Pharma will add on the accounting information regarding the vendor in the transaction code FK01. Am I clear? As vendor is the baby of two departments, purchase and reason you are going to create the vendor is going to be created by the purchase executive and the account executive. When do you call a vendor? When both purchase and account executive has created the purchase information regarding vendor plus the accounting information, then only you call your vendor master data is complete. As we have seen in our account receivable end user cycle, even customer was the baby of two departments. What was that? That was sales department and accounts department. That's the reason when we created customer master data, the two executives who were working were sales executive and account executive. What was the two transaction codes you have used? VD01 and FD01 when we have done our AR cycle. I hope all of you remember that when we have done our account receivable end user cycle, which were having how many steps? We were having 11 steps. Correct? So you see here we had our VD01 and FD01. Step 1 was creation of customer master data. Customer was identified by the sales executive. So we had VD01. He entered the sales information regarding the customer and he passed on to the accountant Smith. He entered the accounting information regarding the customer in FD01. Similarly, when I am talking about vendor master data is the baby of two departments, purchase department and accounts department. So now you have got two options. Now either you can use data entry like this and enter all the fields, or you can look at the PDF and you can easily scroll. The PDF is self-explanatory. Whatever I'm mentioning with the screenshot, everything is given to you. Once you subscribe to our channel, you can create that. How do you subscribe your channel? You go to Google and then go to YouTube. What is my channel? Our channel name is Ravi Consultancy. So this you can subscribe, so that you have to just click here and click on subscribe. Then you will be able to get that. So I am trying to put you on your Excel sheet. I have given you my, how do you reach? You're going to have sap800 at gmail.com. Then yes, you can see this, and I request you to make a note of it. It's www.youtube.com/Ravi Consultancy 1970. Please do subscribe to get the videos, or reach out to me on 630 5571, and this is in India, so you have to put +91 for India. Suffix that. Thank you. You got my YouTube ID. Then you have got my WhatsApp number, which is my voice number also. You can reach me on that. The other way you can reach me is my mail ID, sapecc800 at gmail.com. I hope everyone is clear. This I'll be putting on the link. You can follow from that link also. Thank you. Now let's go back on the server and try to create MK01. Now, how do I create MK01? I'm going to go to the vendor master data. I'm going to open the Excel here. I'm putting vendor master data. I open this Excel sheet. I may be using only the practical document, what is there in front of me. Correct. Vendor master data, all the fields to be entered. Let's try to punch in that. So what is the thing it's saying? Vendor master data, you got two parts. Part 1, purchase executive part, you have to type MK01 in the command field. The command field, maybe because of the time lapse, the vendor has closed our server. Let's log in again with our credential. So as soon as you give your username and password, you are going to encounter the screen. The screen you are going to encounter is called as SAP Easy Access. In layman term, you call it as end user screen. In our example, for Sun Pharmacy. So I type MK01 in the command field. I encounter this. What are the things he's saying? Two inputs to be. Whatever you are trying to create, leave that field free. That I will call as output. Rest of the two are nothing but input for me. I talk in terms of input and output. Two inputs to be entered in the initial screen of vendor. Create vendor initial screen. What are the things I have to enter? I have to enter my purchase organization. What is my standard purchase organization? 1000. And what is the account group I have to enter? 1001. I'm trying to create the vendor. Now, after I this, I have to press simply enter key. Now, I'm going to get the purchase executive has to enter two information. What are the two information? General information regarding vendor and purchase information regarding the vendor. So in general data, information in SAP is called data. So I'm in general data. What we are saying, general data, you the tab is address tab. Create vendor address tab. In data, you got the tab, that's address tab. In tab, these are all the fields. What are the mandatory five fields you have to enter? Title of the vendor, name of the vendor, search term, country, and region. So title, because he is not an individual, he is a company, I'll give a company. I'll say vendor, name of the vendor, I could give anything for the sake of maintaining the uniformity. I'll say vendor one who has created Surya for 1,000 years. First vendor I'm creating. So the two fields I have entered is title. If I forget the ID, how do I search it back? I can say V1, yes, yes for Surya, and maybe I put 1000. When I'm going to create my second vendor, I'll write vendor to Surya 1000 years or whichever enterprise sector I'm using. I can enter the search term. Then the field which are to be entered are country and region. Country, because the vendor I'm going to create in a local vendor and the enterprise sector is in Germany, so I'll create a local vendor in Germany, so it will be D. That is my fourth, and region is my fifth. I'll call the vendors in Hamburg. Now you see, some gentlemen has given the district as a mandatory field. Clear? Field. So I have to enter district. That can be in my consultant screen. It's not. Now the thing I'm looking at is how I'm going to create general data address of five field are company, vendor, search term, country, region. Then where I have to go? I have to go to the control tab. You see here I maximize. There another field which are the control tab. I have to enter the VAT registration number. What is the VAT registration number? That's nothing but all European Union country are going to use the VAT. VAT is a 11 digit ID, 11 digit ID, which it's a 11 digit, it's a 11 digit, it's a 11 digit ID, it's a 11 digit ID which you can enter. So the first two digit is country ID. Because it's Germany, I have given it as DG, followed by 9 digits. So I click on next. I click on next. Here I can enter D 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Next, I click on next till I reach the purchase data. So in purchase data, how many I have to enter? I have to enter the five field order currency, terms of payment, Incoterm, GR based invoice verification, and automatic purchase order. Let's put it the practical part of it, and then we'll do this. Order currency, the currency in which we are going to give the purchase order. Because it is in Europe, what is the currency I'm going to use for Germany? Euro. And what is the terms of payment? Terms of payment is after the invoice is raised by the vendor, should he I pay it immediately, then I'll select 0001. If the vendor say, hey, after I give you the invoice, you can pay me in 14 days. What is the next time he has to pay? The maximum time you can pay me is in 45 days. That's the due date. But if you are going to pay earlier than 45 days, if you are paying me in 30 days, I'm going to give you 2% cash discount. Okay, you still pay earlier, the vendor is showing you benefit of giving you 3% cash discount. For time being, all of you I request take immediately. As soon as I get the invoice, I pay that. Now, what is Incoterm? International commercial terms, cost and freight. If I don't understand Incoterm, what is the help key on this? Incoterm, commonly used trading term for trading. Who is going to pay the transport bill? So, Incoterm specifies certain international required procedure where the shipper is receiving party must be doing. So, meaning who is going to pay the transport bill? You are going to pay for the raw material, company code 1000. But who is going to pay the transport? Is the seller or the buyer? That is being decided by Incoterm. If, say, for example, if I am saying if goods are shipped through a departure, approximately FOB, free on board, you enter in the first one FOB. In the second column, you enter the port of departure, FOB Boston. So here I am writing CFR, Hamburg. Now, what is the meaning of CFR? Cost of the raw material and the freight charges are borne by the company code 1000. It's not the freight charges are being paid by our company, correct? Or wherever I want to get it, I'm entering this. Okay? Incoterm, what are the different Incoterms I have got? Cost and freight borne by the company code. If I'm saying cost of the raw, if I put CIF, cost of the raw material, insurance charges and freight charges are borne by the company code. Insurance, freight free. Insured, freight free. Insurance only is cost of the raw material and insurance charges have to be paid by the company code, but the freight is free. If I'm saying FOB, that is free on board. Let me explain you in a very late term. You have ordered for a pizza. You are paying only for the price of the pizza. You don't pay for the delivery. So then what is the Incoterm? FOB, free on board. The pizza delivery boy is delivering you pizza at home and he is charging only for the pizza, not taking for any transport bill from you. Then what is your Incoterm becoming? FOB. Say he says X is the amount of your pizza plus you have to pay me $1 for the freight, for the transport where he is coming. Then I am talking about cost and freight. Cost of the pizza plus the freight charges is here. Cost of the pizza is X plus the freight charges is $1. X plus $1. Then I am putting as CFR. I am saying I am going to even insurance my pizza. Cost of the pizza and I am insuring my pizza with 50 cents. It should not get damaged in say 20 minutes. How I don't know how it will get damaged. So insurance I am doing and then I have freight charges. Then my Incoterms will be CR. That we are going to discuss in our consultant work in depth in our phase 2 training. So we are at the embryo stage of phase 1 of our training program when we are looking at the consultant work, customization work, and we are talking about how do the consultant sitting in IBM is going to customize this vendor master data screen. We are going to see in the coming classes. So I am going to take my Incoterm as cost of the raw material and the freight charges are borne by the customer. Then I am putting what are the fifth field? GR based invoice and automatic purchase order. What will happen if I am activating this? GR stands for goods based invoice verification, meaning this vendor can send you invoice only after he sends the goods. If I don't put this tick, what will happen? He can send invoice even before he has sent you the raw material. No, my company doesn't agree. You first send me the raw material, then only you send me the invoice, I'm going to pay you. If that is the scenario, I'm going to activate this. First, I'm going to receive the goods, then I'll do the invoice verification. If that is the scenario, I'm going to activate this. I hope you are clear. If your vendor is bigger than your company, then what he says is, hey, I am the monopoly, I am the boss, I dictate. You pay me the money first, then I'll send you the raw material. Then I'm not activating here. What the vendor will do? He'll send you the invoice first. You have to pay for the raw material first. Then he'll send you the goods. So generally, it is not that way in the business. You receive the goods what you have received. For that only you're paying the vendor. Correct? That is GR based invoice verification. And once I'm saying automatic purchase order, this vendor is a preferred vendor to me. Whenever this raw material is required, automatically my purchase department will notify he is the one of our favorable vendor, or he is our esteemed vendor. Raise the purchase order to him. Now, after I have entered my general data and purchase data, what I'm doing? Click on save. You'll get the output. I said we are going to discuss in terms of input and output. I just save it. What is the thing which I'm going to get? I'm going to get the output vendor number 100621, which I can enter in my end user screen 0261. Correct? Now, still the vendor work is not over. Only the purchase data has been entered. Now I have to enter my accounting information regarding the vendor. That's the part B. So to do the part B, which is the transaction code I have to go? I have to go to the transaction code FK01. Now let's close this and again go back. As I told you, now there are two ways of going to the vendor master data. Now because it is from finance point of view, because vendor comes in accounts payable. You see, either I go by part. What is the part? SAP Easy Access Accounts Financial Accounting Master Data FK01. I encounter this screen, or directly I can close the screen like this. If I know my transaction code, this rectangular box is command field. If I don't know what is this rectangular box, what I can do? I can keep my cursor here and hit F1 on the keyboard. It will tell you the help document will open. So you can read that. So this is called as command field. Now what I have to type? I have to type the transaction code FK01 in the command field. Now I press enter key. How many inputs I have to enter? I have to enter the vendor number. Vendor number already the purchase executive has given me. Now as an accountant, already the vendor number is being created by the purchase executive. He passed on that thing. Then I enter my company code and the account group, the three inputs. So account group is 0001, vendor IT, output of my MK01. What is the output of my MK01? My vendor number. Correct? This is my output. So I am entering my output 100 to 61 and account group. Now once I have entered this, then how many in company code data I have got two tabs, account management tab and payment transaction tab. This will be interesting to the finance people. Now as soon as I enter here, press enter key. Now it is saying error, saying account group uses the internal number range. Right? Leave this free. Number range will be automatically created. So someone has done some kind of a configuration conflict, which I am going to rectify in the coming class, and then we'll continue with this FK01, and then we are going to do in our next session all the steps of AP end user work. That is all the steps. Only creating vendor and material is going to take long. From step 3 to step 8, it's going to be only 30 minutes class. I hope all of you have understood vendor master data from purchase point of view, how to create in our this thing. So we are going to create the FK01 after I rectify the error there. in the next session. Then we are going to see tomorrow the whole point. Thank you very much for participating. I'll stop the recording now and I'll take the question in a live session. Now you can unmute your microphone, all of you, and can throw the questions at me if there are any. Please unmute your microphone, Mercy. Please come in. Yeah. I hope you have understood. What is the first thing you have to understand, Mercy? That accounts payable cycle is also called as procurement to pay or P2P cycle. Clear? So, any questions you have on vendor master data creation? So, because we have covered in our last session regarding AR cycle or order to cash cycle, you know all other steps. Customer opposite is vendor creation. Finished goods material master data you create in OTC cycle, you can create the material master data of raw material. Thank you very much, all of you. Please leave the session and join in another 2 minutes. All of you, I request you to leave the meeting and come back in 2 minutes, please, so that I can stop the recording. I request all of you to leave and join in exactly 2 minutes, and then I'll conclude the class. Thank you.